Major Guevara, in your speech to the General Assembly day before yesterday, you accused the United States of helping Cuba's neighbors prepare new aggression against her. We, in turn, have often accused your government of abetting subversion in other Latin American countries. Do you see any way out of this situation, any way to improve relations?
I think with regards to solutions, there are solutions, and I think there is only one. We have said repeatedly to the government of the US that we do not want anything but to forget us, that they do not consider us even for good or evil.
From New York City, Face the Nation, a spontaneous and unrehearsed news interview with Ernesto Che Guevara, Cuban Minister of Industry. Major Guevara will be questioned by CBS News United Nations correspondent Richard C. Hottelet, Ted Schultz of the Washington Bureau of the New York Times, and CBS News correspondent Paul Niven.
Major Guevara, you said a moment ago you would simply like us Americans to forget Cuba. Your speech the other day suggested that you can't forget us. You consider us a hostile government 90 miles away. How can you expect us to forget you?
I didn't say exactly that I expected to forget us. You asked a solution, and I said what was that solution in the present moment. If it's possible or not, that's another question.
Welcome to another episode of You Left Shit Out. I am your host. I think I'm going to just start saying Jay. But Compton J, I go by Compton J, at least on Twitter and in person, I guess. I'm sorry, on stream, I'll still go by Compton J for now. Starting us out right this week. This is my first episode of the week. Starting us out this week with the great Ernesto Che, as we all call him, on Face the Nation. This is back when, believe it or not, our politics, even the discussion of politics, especially on TV, was like a million times better. So let's get to, actually, let me show you what we're going to be talking about. Let's start with that. I know most of you have seen the overlay or the thumbnail, as you may call it, but let's put it back up there and just kind of, oops, I did the wrong one. So let's put it back up there. Just talk about, so you can see what we're going to be talking about here. So electoral politics is dead with Briahna Joy Gray. We're going to be discussing some recent conversations. RBN was on there yesterday. I should say Nick and Afeni. Afeni is still not, she's not a part of RBN anymore, but you know, she's still part of the family. So they were on Bree's call-in show, which was a follow-up show of a discussion she was having about voting and voting for progressives. And she had a progressive candidate on and she asked questions. So that kind of is the genesis of where we're at with this discussion for today. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But as always, before we get to that, happy to see that we already have 100 people in here. That should mean we already have 100 likes. I'm sure that is the case. I'll check that in just a second. But let's do a quick chat check. Let's see how things are going in the chat. Today, decided to leave it open for people who weren't subscribers. So you may have some people who aren't subscribers in the chat today, which is unusual. Usually it's set for people who are subscribers to this channel. Finally, CJ, make this time slot. Absolutely. I was able to make it today. Love RBN. We love you too. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty good, I feel like the topic makes the discussion great. And I love the use of finna in there. Or fixing to, which is that short for that. Social movements have always been what transforms society. Politicians are narcissists who need to be forced to make. Looks like you're already starting a conversation. You're already going where we're going to be going. Partly, this is going to be good. I think so. What's up, Savvy Sav? I think I saw you in the queue for call-in show for Bree. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you were ahead of me. And of course, Dana's in the house. How you doing, Dana? She always has a great follow-up tweets or corresponding tweets of information. Like if I refer to something, she may look up an article and get that out there. So yes, yeah, Trippy see, that's the point that I was making. Like politics have always been terrible for the working person, working people, but at least we actually saw real debates. We actually saw real conversation with actual heads of states, heads of revolutions on TV. You just don't see anything like that. We just see a bunch of reality TV. It's funny that reality TV is called reality TV, and that's the least of reality. Yes, with Briahna Joy Gray, if I didn't say that earlier, it's part of the topics. Thank you. I take that as a compliment. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so I was right. I was right. I saw you in the didn't assure it says you're everywhere. All right, so we have 130 people in. Now let's do a like check, and we're gonna get into the topics. It's actually one topic, but there's a lot of different thumbnails I made for this one because there's a lot of working parts to why politics or electoral politics is dead. We're at 83 likes and 131 viewers. If we can get that up, maybe 40 or more, would really appreciate that. Let's be interactive today. So I'll be asking the chat a lot of questions today. Let me actually share something else here. So I'll stop sharing this and oops, not invite, but let's share. Here. Okay, so just to kind of tackle some of the topics, because it is a broad topic, and maybe we could use the thumbnails to kind of lead us through this conversation. That might assist us here. But you see some of the thumbnails I made, all of them with the main title of "Electoral Politics is Dead." I feel like Kshama Sawant, her style of politics, her not identifying as a Republican or Democrat, is the style of the future. Anything that's going to be that's going to get the people riled up to come out and support you, it's going to be Kshama Sawant's style of politics. I don't see anyone else on the landscape but one, in my opinion. Pramila Jayapal, thanks for nothing. Literally, she has been the instigator behind a lot of the downfall of the recent progressive movement. So she is the architect, the person that has been executing this for the establishment. So there's that thumbnail. Then of course, the heartbreak for a lot of people who broke into politics, broke into the understanding of the duopoly through the Bernie Sanders campaign, which then made you kind of have a soft spot for him. But he is now a sheep herder, maybe the top sheep herder, and just because of what he is, the people who look up to him. So it is terrible, but that's the state of politics right now. Then we also have the movement killer, of course. The movement killer, Barack Obama. NBA, Bernie Sanders movement, the NBA strike or lockout or whatever it's called. Then we have people like this, progressives like this, who sold out immediately and who eventually sell out. And that's Jamal the sellout. So he's sort of representing all of the progressives that are sellouts. With progressives like this, who needs Democrats? And let's go here. The Democratic Party is center right. Democrats are corrupt. And I felt like those two people absolutely represents the corruption of the Democrats in Washington, D.C. These two here. And is that the last one? Let me see if that's the last one. That is the last one I was able to post. I do have two more I was not able to get to because just busy, graphics got done late and everything else. But anyway, let's bring up Briahna Joy Taylor's let's see, which one are we on? We're on this one. So let's just go from here so we don't have to change anything. Let's go to her interview with, now it's not her last interview, I must say. That is where it began though. Bad faith. That is where it began. But from there, I was gonna use that first, and then I said, you know what? I thought there was another conversation she had that dealt more with just the specific topic of electoralism. And that was an interview, not with this last candidate she interviewed, but a few candidates ago where she interviewed two in one time. And the title of that is the case for electoralism with Reverend Wendy Hamilton and Ali D. I don't want to say your name incorrectly. That was a commercial. So let's pause this actually first. Let me pause this before we get into it and kind of set it up appropriately here. So this is a very needed conversation for the left. This is a very needed conversation. Actually, and that's another thing. I'm gonna use left all the time, but for people, we need to make this not less left right when we talk, so that people who don't understand that they're left, which is a lot of the Black community, their ears aren't turned off. Because the Black community is for living wage, for climate crisis, for money out of politics, is for healthcare for all, is for ending wars. Like, that's what the Black community is for. The label has been propagandized, so they're against the label. And some other things they don't agree with us. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I feel like we need to not stop, because we're not going to, just like from going from capitalism to communism, there's a middle ground, lower communism and otherwise known as socialism. So, you know what I mean? Like, I understand we're not going to immediately stop using these terms of left and right. I'm just saying we need to consciously try to stop and move towards language that is more inclusive to people. So absolutely. So yeah, let me take that off there. So, okay, so let's get started with this conversation she was having with these two great, they seem like good people, so it's not anything against them when we're saying electoralism is done. But actually, let me speak to that, to the title. Electoralism is done. It's dead, I should say. And the reason I kind of speak in those terms is not to say that maybe electoralism and the use of electoralism couldn't be strengthened or resuscitated is a better way of saying it. It's just right now it feels like it's dead. Right now, all the avenues that we would normally have, even in or all the paths, like progressive paths, seems to have dried up, in my opinion. Even those pathways have dried up. And I'm gonna find the audio when I was on the call-in show with Briahna Joy Gray. Also, actually, it was me and Afeni. And yesterday, it was Nick and Afeni who went on to her show. But this other time, it happened to be Afeni and I. It was supposed to be Sabrina also, but I think Sabrina had some other interview planned, and that's the reason why she wasn't able to make it. But anyway, I'm gonna look for that because I addressed this specifically on her show at that time, which was several months ago, where I basically was telling her, or not telling her, because I was speaking to the audience and to people. I was just on her show saying it, but saying that I felt like RBN is here to shake people awake, to say that, hey, you know, electoral politics is dead. Because in the interview, we were talking about third parties at that particular point, I believe. And not, it wasn't an interview, it was a discussion. It was like she made it a point that she found it hard to find like third party candidates and so on. And then, you know, I brought up we were also talking about the corruption of the Democratic Party. And then I was like, you know, this look what's happening. Like you can't get through the Democratic Party. You can't find enough support for the third parties. I'm like, it's staring us right in the face. Electoral politics is dead. And that was the point on her show. I think I'm about to pull up this clip here. I am getting close. I have so much stuff in my bookmarks that it's ridiculous. But I, you know what? When I'm on with Nick, he makes me feel a little bit better because he has the same issue, and sometimes it seems like his is worse. But I have it here, so let's click it, and I'm gonna take this one down. Before we get to this conversation, I want you to hear what I said then. Let's go to share that one now. So this is all audio. I was on the call-in show. Let's make it now. It's sped up at time and a half. The person who did this did that for some reason, but they sped it up for time and a half. So it's a little fast, but it's not too crazy. So you'll understand. But let's listen to what I was saying then.
The last point I want to make is this. Us not being able to locate third-party candidates, the Democratic Party being as awful as they are, it's like staring all of us right in the face. Electoral politics is done. We're not getting anything done through electoral politics. It's staring us right in the face, but we're refusing to accept that as a movement because there's some of us who don't want to be in the streets doing the work. That's literally what's happening here, is that it's people that don't want to take it there yet. So let's beat this dead horse some more. And I'm here, and I think RBN is here to say, let's shake everybody awake. This is over. This is over.
Can I add just another angle?
The last point I want to make.
Okay, so I'll replay it and break it down in a second, but I just wanted to play it all the way through first. I mean, maybe I'll pull up the whole, because you can pull it up on, and I can play it, the whole interview or the whole discussion, because Katie came on. She wasn't on initially, but Katie was brought on. And you can hear after that comment, everybody wanted to chime in. Everybody wanted to chime in after what I was saying there. But let's listen again, and I'll stop it at the point. I think there's 2 points I want to make a point of.
The last point I want to make is this. Us not being able to locate third-party candidates, the Democratic Party being as awful as they are, it's like staring all of us right in the face.
So let me stop it there, because in the electoral politics arena, I believe in the Green Party. That's how I would vote. That's how I voted in the last election. That's how I'm going to vote any future elections. Right? But to the point that I was making in this audio, even the third parties are very weak. The third party structure, I should say. Because all the leftists who claim third party, I did a summit, and my eyes were open to the lack of support really behind third party candidates. People really just tweet about it. Really. When they go in that booth, it's a different story. That woke my eyes up to this third party push. It's not what leftists are saying. it's way weaker. The state of the third party path is way weaker than we believe it is. And there's several reasons. The leftists on Twitter aren't really leftists. So if you see 10 people saying I'm a leftist, you can probably cut that in half at least, if not more. There's too many people who define leftists as their a mindset and not an action. Leftism is right now being defined as what goes on in your head. So the support for third parties, the organization of the third parties, or the lack of, the lack of engagement of third parties to communities of color and indigenous communities, not because it's intentional, it's a blind spot. Just not there. And do we really even have the time to build a third party strong enough to win elections? What's up, Josana? You let me know when you're ready for me to put you in. I'll put you in. Okay, because whenever you're ready, let me know. So Josana is in the background. So let me finish playing this so you can hear the rest here.
Electoral politics is done.
Actually, let me start that part over and then play it a little more.
The last point I want to make is this: us not being able to locate third-party candidates, the Democratic Party being as awful as they are, it's like staring all of us right in the face. Electoral politics is done. We're not getting anything done through electoral politics. It's staring us right in the face, but we're refusing to accept that as a movement.
It is staring us right in the face that electoral politics is done. But the other option is work. This is the reason Americans don't like to do work. This is the reason Americans are so easily persuaded to go back and do the same dumb thing over and over, even though it doesn't work. It's because we really don't want to choose the door that requires putting feet on the ground to do work. As Americans, American culture, that is not us. And that's the reason why when somebody comes out and says Medicare for all, we go, oh, let's vote for that person. Without any proof. Because again, Americans think leftism is just in your head. That's all it takes to make you a left. It's so silly. Okay, I think you're ready. It's so silly to even think about. When you think about it, what's up, Joe? You're laughing too. It's so silly to even think about that. You think you're a leftist just because of your beliefs and not any outwardly thing you have done. When you think about it, what are your thoughts though on it? Just I know you just kind of jumped in, but so far what I've been talking about, what the topic.
No, but I have been watching, and I jumped in because you were like, oh, because hi, Nick. Well, CJ, we've been speaking the same language, and I just realized that we're rarely in the same place, like in a stream together, right?
Right.
And we've been speaking the same language, and I remember speaking about these frustrations with you and getting to that conclusion together that what's going on? What is it with the lack of movement? And if this was like a hidden information, let's say it's hidden yet, right? We don't know that electoral politics don't work anymore. We didn't go through Biden's election. Okay, we still believe there is a bad guy. This guy is Trump. And then that the good guy, Biden, is coming to save us. But literally what this guy did since his first day in office was to break all the promises he made in order to get elected. And more, all the promises they, as in Democratic Party, made in order to get numbers in the House and the Senate. And they do have majority and the decision vote. Kamala Harris, the cop, the vice president cop in chief. And they have the nerve to tell us that they don't have majority. Not even the money, the cash that they said, if you vote for Democrats, if you vote for this, I'm sorry, the names go away from my head, but that guy, Reverend Warnock, if you vote for him, we're going to give you $2,000. People vote for him. It's missing 600 still.
And they do it with a straight face. They do it with a straight face, Josana. And my frustration, or the frustration that I share, is that it feels like people aren't hearing and seeing the same thing that we're seeing. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, this Russia thing, or this war. You just told us you're not able to do this, and this for us, and then overnight you're sending $40 billion. You get what I'm saying? Like that is a gap in understanding. People aren't going to understand that because they can't feed their kids 3 meals a day. Now they have to go down to 2. They can't drive anywhere because gas prices are crazy. But you're telling us it's okay because we're sending money, $40 billion to Ukraine. It just doesn't match up. Go ahead.
Where is this money coming from? And that, like, you have to always follow the money. You say that a lot, always follow the money. Sabrina also says that a lot, always follow. And then you're going to see that the money is coming from our pockets. Right. It's taxpayer money that fuels Wall Street, right? It's taxpayer money that is that's supporting. I remember when Trump was in power, the COVID aid was $4 trillion. And for us, we had to fight. But to be quite honest, we had the aid. Right now, the people that were supposed to be our heroes, our saviors, they don't give us no aid. They say there's no COVID aid, and we're still unemployed. We're still catching COVID. I just recovered from it. Right? And we're still not being able to work when we have COVID. Yeah, I said.
I don't know if people knew. Yeah, I don't know if people knew you had. Did everybody know you had COVID?
Yeah, I said it in a stream. I'm like,
oh, you did.
I
have
COVID.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But like, I still had to be a week without working, and I'm not getting paid for that week. Right. CJ, now I have to, like, as I will conversing with you. Now I have to find another hustle. So, right, because the job is already a hustle. Like, existing in the US is a hustle. You have to, like, find money anywhere, work 5 jobs to be able to have food on your table. Something is wrong. This is the richest country in the world. We're not talking about a third world country that has been broken by sanctions from the USA, by coup d'etats from the USA, from wars from the USA. We're talking about the USA per se, the most powerful nation in the world. And we are starving.
This is our money too, Josana. This, like you said, this is our
taxpayer money.
This is our money. They're going into our bank account saying, hey, we're taking this money for some bombs over here, whether you like it or not. And we can't say anything about it, but how is it that none of our money goes to us? Like, how is that? Like, make that make sense to me, Josana. But from internationally looking out, before you got here on this soil, did you think like what the hell is going on over there? Like, does it seem on the outside like very illogical, our system?
Well, to be quite honest, the propaganda is very heavy, right? So you have even the propagandized people that I know, like this Brazilian worker here. She is in her 60s, 65 years old. And she delivers the newspaper in the morning. She is a babysitter, and she works as a cleaner in a restaurant at night. And her, like, she's 65 years old, but this person says like, no, because we can work and make the money. The only reason you're making the money is because this economy works to break other economies in order to be on top. So that's why me sending money to Brazil, the relation is 5-1, right? But when I was there, the propaganda was the opposite. The propaganda is, of course, I was already a fighter, so I'm looking into independent news.
Already. You already knew.
And in my head, that's the thing. When I found you guys, I remember that I first found you through Rome on Twitter. I felt like a breath of fresh air, because I was like, oh, there are real leftist people in the US. They're not just willing to discuss, but they are willing to do. So I started like watching the streams and everything. But I remember in Brazil, to see the propagandized side, like the US is the promised land, please go there, come here. And there is a heavily propaganda to you to come here and be illegal worker, because that's cheaper for them. It's just money coming in from the taxes. There is no money coming out.
Is the US the one that's, are US companies the ones that's funding the propaganda to get people to come to the US?
Oh, CJ,
are they the ones,
there is a program with Amazon that if you pay $30K, you're gonna come here, you're gonna be a worker for Amazon, making below minimum wage. Like, let's say if the minimum wage is $8 in this state, you will make $5. You're gonna work full time in order to get a green card. But you pay 30K. You pay 30K. And you come here to work full time on Amazon for $5 an hour, 7 days a week, in order to get your green card.
But this is an example. But this points out, if our audience don't understand why you cannot defeat this empire from just this soil. It has to be a team, because all the bad people are going to do is just go somewhere else. They're just go to another country. You get what I'm saying? Like, it has to be an international fight to defeat the U.S. empire. But Josana, let's bring this back to our topic, which is electoral politics is dead. And what I was saying is that if you're going to participate in it, my suggestion is third party, Green Party. But let's not make any mistake what this system is and what this system can accomplish. It can't free us, Black people. It's not going to liberate us. The system of voting is not going to liberate us. It's not going to liberate trans rights. It's not going to liberate trans people, indigenous people. It's not. And that's the stuff that I want to attack, because you know these small little things that voting can accomplish, like, okay, but that's not going to materially change or improve the lives of people with the skin color of mine and yours, Josana, and all different shades of brown and indigenous. It's not. But let me get your take on the rest of this. It's like 30 seconds of this. I know you heard it offline, but I'm going to refresh everybody's memory and then just get your take before we go to the Briahna Joy Gray video.
All of us right in the face. Electoral politics is done.
Oops, sorry. Let me rewind. Sorry.
The last point I want to make is this. Us not being able to locate third-party candidates, the Democratic Party being as awful as they are, it's like staring all of us right in the face. Electoral politics is done. We're not getting anything done through electoral politics. It's staring us right in the face, but we're refusing to accept that as a movement, because there's some of us who don't want to be in the streets doing the work. That's literally what's happening here, is that it's people that don't want to take it there yet. So let's beat this dead horse some more. And I'm here, and I think RBN is here to say, let's shake everybody awake. This is over. This is over. The last point I want to make is this.
Sorry, didn't mean to replay that. But what do you take from that short, like 40-second clip, the point that is made in that clip? What
I
is your
think
take
that
on that?
that point is really clear, right? Like I went into Sabi's channel on Sunday for the women's panel to discuss Roe versus Wade. To be quite honest, I can only contribute in these conversations with the vision. I come from a country where abortion is illegal. So I just wanted to bring a perspective like people will die. And there's people that looks like us that's going to die because of that. And in that take, and I was finding it funny because like I said that too in front of a third party candidate, we should not vote. Right? And I like your take too, because I see people like, okay, let me just chime in. And they're like desperate. And I freaking love that. Because
Everybody wanted to
people
chime
like
in
you.
at the same time because of the point
we
that was
just,
made.
like we cannot have that veil of illusion anymore. And you had started this show that I told you I liked too about the propaganda, because that's what we have to do. Take the veil out of our eyes of the propaganda. And I think the propaganda comes from when people in America are in school, like they children, because they added history the way they can be told or not, right? They added what they can teach or not. And I feel like third party, I know personally, not personally as friends as we know each other, but like I know personally some candidates that I like them, I like their takes, but to be quite honest, and I know that Dr. Junstein also went to jail, like she's a fighter, and I commend all her work. But to be quite honest, with the system the way it is in place for so long, and I'm talking 500 years, bro. I'm not talking yesterday, last month, last election. A system that's made to be keeping the establishment the way it is, white supremacy dictate all the rules. A system that's rigged from the start, from the seed. It's not voting that's going to change it. And that's an example, CJ, that how they co-opt leftist speech. Because the whole idea that voting is democracy is a speech that's coming from the South. Because in the 70s, because the US sponsored the military governments and coup d'etat in the whole of South America, we lost our right to vote. We actually lost our right to exist. And everything, education, everything started looking very much like the US, like here. And we lost the right to vote. So when the fighters went to the streets, people died by the books every single day. Just by sitting, having a conversation in a bar, you could be accused of being a communist, you would be snatched. People died, and you had the guerrilla and people training with the guerrilla. And then people were able to fight to have democracy back. And that's why in the South, and I say South as global South,
right.
voting is so important, because once we didn't have this right, but here, men can vote since they started this very bad project, which is the empire of the USA. So they are co-opting and saying democracy, go vote. It's a lie. Maybe they're getting a prize for every single person that vote. They're getting paid by corporations putting commercials just like the Super Bowl. I don't know. Everything is an event, because this country is a freaking reality show. And the devil is the host. Because we've been suffering a lot.
That's a good analogy. Because it is literally like a reality show. Like things that people, do you know, you could get more people if you, for example, we are podcasters. Let's say you title your stream the latest, Migos, or the latest celebrity person. I don't even know. The latest celebrity person. If you title that, you'll have a bunch of people there to watch. But if you title something about, hey, mutual aid, hey, let's start organizing, you'll get a few people.
Well,
And that is the thing I don't understand. Even after feeling all of the conditions of the pandemic, even after not getting the check, even after all this disappointment, like, how aren't you there yet? Go ahead.
No, I know that because like I keep on trying to like I have to introduce you to this guy. We brought him last week, I think, in the stream with Nick. He's the coordinator, the creator of Candles in the Sun,
Yes,
which is a
you told me about
nonprofit that is an org that's working in Buffalo, and and the guy was doing an action and being interviewed. So like he was talking to us while doing work. And and you have like and the streams are like that. Me and Nick, we always like trying to bring somebody that's on the ground and like make connections and work with them, but the streams are always like low number, and I understand that, and I made peace with the fact that there
Why you say you made peace? So you were getting upset before. It was
no I am upset, but the thing is like I am making peace with a beast so I can know how to destroy them. But there is an apathy beast over in the US population. I don't want to say American because then you disconsider Central Americans and South Americans.
Yeah, that is a great
But there
point.
is an apathy because like if you just Google Global South, and if you just Google Chile and Brazil and Uruguay and all the changes they were able to do, the fighters in Venezuela, Nicaragua, like we are fighting CIA every day. Like if you just Google, you can read the examples in English, but people are apathetic because they want to hold on to the belief that they are free, and freedom for what they are, like what they have as freedom is just the fact that they can buy stuff. And even the stuff they buy puts them in debt, and they have to pay, and they are locked in the cycle of debt relief, freedom. There's not freedom, buy, and where is the freedom? Why is it for me easier to believe that the enemy is China and not those that are every day taking my money, taking food out of my children's mouth to go to war?
The reason is it's easier to brainwash somebody than to convince somebody they've been brainwashed. Let me say that again. It's easier to brainwash somebody than to convince a brainwashed person that, hey, you've been brainwashed.
Yeah.
And that's the state that we're in. Go ahead. It looks like you were going to make a point.
No. I was just like,
yeah. That's the state that we're in. But for everybody watching, we're gonna get to the video because we can talk about this all day long. But let's begin the video. And whenever you want me to stop, you want to make a comment, make a point that from something they said, just let me know and I'll stop the video here. So, so they're talking about the case for electoralism. So these two guests are candidates, and they're also making the case that leftists, that people, progressives need to, stay engaged in electoralism. Now, so let's listen to the discussion here. We're not going to listen to all of it, but let's begin it.
Nothing changes if you give up. And it's like the example I mentioned early on. It's darkest before the dawn kind of thing. And
but here's the thing, Allie. I want to help you, but people are going to hear you say they've given up. They haven't given up. They've given up on electoral politics, and they feel dismissed when candidates tell them that if you aren't supporting my candidacy, you are giving up. Because they're not giving up. They're saying, I see what you're asking me to do. I was on board with that train. I tried it, and all the people that I got elected failed me.
You're like us. You're grassroots trying to raise your money. Yeah. And it's ridiculous. Yeah. And it's just so frustrating to me that the American people are being led into the way that they think.
Just a word of advice. People feel insulted when they're being told, just because I'm not going to support an electoral strategy, I'm giving up on broad progress, because the people who listen to this show are still very engaged. I am so glad to be joined today by Reverend Wendy Hamilton, who is running for Congress in the great district of Washington, D.C. Welcome, right. Reverend.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
And also Allie Dowsimer, who's running in Virginia's 11th district. Welcome, Allie.
Thank you so much, Briahna. I'm super excited to be here.
Okay, let me stop it.
All right.
Sorry,
so
I wasn't.
To this show are gonna.
I have my
No, it's okay.
sound going through somewhere.
The first point I want to make: what is it with the reverends? Reverend is a religious figure, right?
So you
Get out of the state.
You want me to give you the black answer, or you want me to give you the actual? So because
always the black answer.
in some black communities, it is a nickname. Rev is to give respect sometimes, but it's more broadly used by people who are religious. In this case, she is a reverend, like of a church, of a religion, not using it as a nickname. So in this case, it is actual.
Get out of the state. Why are you trying to go in there? What is the church doing in the state? We've seen that before in history. It went wrong. They burned us down as witches.
Okay, there's gonna be more of this in the interview, so make sure you tell me to stop it on those points, because I was thinking of some of the same things along those lines, but deeper in this conversation. So let's see what she says. It happens like in the first 15 minutes, so it's not too far in.
Gonna have one question top of mind, because it's a question that many on the left have been wrestling with probably since the beginning of last year, which is, to what extent and why should they still be engaged in electoralism when so many people feel like, despite working really hard to get so many folks, good progressive folks, elected to Congress in the last cycle, there have been little to no returns on those kinds of investments? Have you each been engaging with that question at all, or dealing with that question from your constituents at all, your prospective constituents?
Absolutely. I can speak here in DC that there's just a sense of hopelessness, right? There's this sense of disconnectedness that I was hearing all over the city as I was engaging residents. Like, what's the point? Like, we've done this. I've voted this many times, and we still have not seen anything tangible happening in our lives. And that's real. And so I had to validate that, but also suggest that the only way that we can actually continue to press toward making that change is send better qualified people, the folks who are actually committed to doing it.
Do you think that's all we need? Is to say, you already laughing. So this is the first point where I want to stop it. Like, do you think? I mean, I already know the answer, but let's go through the motions. Do you think that's all? Now, she does have more detail, and it's not just this small point that she makes later in the conversation. But do you think that sending better people would change the outcome?
Look, I made a story before. I made up a little story before. So you have a machine running. And that machine has like its way to work. And it's been working without all of this, because electoral politics in the US is a circus. These are clowns. I'm sorry, ladies, no offense. Respect to the Reverend sister, sorry. But clowns, because they are in the circus and the machine is running without them, right? All they want to do is to get to the huge machine that's like killing everybody, slaughtering, and you can watch it. You can see from the outside that that's what it's doing, and sucking souls. And you really want to tell people with a straight face that you're going to go there because you're more qualified? You are not. The machine belongs to corporations. It's going to kill you. It's going to suck you in, and it's going to humiliate you. Because I see as like, if you have any values as human, I see like Cory Bush, AOC, to me, they're humiliated. They have no respect for themselves and the other. And like, then you have independent candidates. Oh, but you guys cannot give up. We have to go there. Better qualified people. Better qualified people have been there, like you posted today, very well, like very eloquently. The reason why we blaming the third party is because the better qualified people told us they were better qualified. They went there and did the same clownery that the other clowns were doing. It's just a repeating behavior. It's a company. And when you go in a company and it's your profession to be a politician, you want to grow in your career. What are you going to do? Sell your soul.
Right. I just don't understand why we think, for example, Nina Turner, as fire as she can get, why do we think she is going to bring the change that we're all talking about against all the other like 600 people that's corrupt? That's what I don't understand. Like in Congress, there's like 435 people in the House, and then there's like another 100. So you're talking about like with the president and the cabinet, you're talking about maybe 560 people. So that one person we send is going to combat, like it's the belief, it's propaganda, it's this belief that one person can save it, because Americans has been propagandized through Hollywood. You ever seen Tom Cruise movies where he's the one person, he's killing everybody, bullets is whizzing by and everything? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, they think that is actually going to happen, Josana, and it's so ridiculous. You know how many people that has to be sent there to even begin to be effective in that way? Like, if we elected maybe 200 people at the same time, like 200 RBN members, you know what I mean, at the same time, and all send them at the same time. But you're sending them 1 here, 3 there. Look at Mondaire Jones. Look at Jamal Bowman. Look at Pramila Jayapal. Like, we did the same thing. They said all this stuff. We send them there, and look what happened. Like, it just, history doesn't show that this strategy works, Josana. It just doesn't show that. Go ahead.
It is like, you need majority, right? Why do I have to believe that Reverend, bless her heart, like, will go there and change everything by herself? You need majority because it's quote unquote democracy. So you need voting to pass the bills. And we are seeing now with our bare eyes, mask off. What I like about this moment, I like chaos, because I believe, and I know for a fact, that after chaos, cosmos comes in. Big Bang, boom, chaos, everything exploding. Then cosmos, universe, everything in its perfect orbit. So we need the chaos because US has yet to see the chaos of transformation. It hasn't seen it yet. And why do I have to believe? And I'm watching now with my bare eyes, Democrats mask off. And I like to see that. I like to see they struggling because they talking, they saying lies, and the mask doesn't come off. It comes off. It's half off. It's under the nose. and they have majority. They have majority. They had majority when Obama had super majority and didn't codify Roe versus Wade. So don't come to me and tell me about Black people working with them. To me, they are just diversity hire. Maybe I'm an actor. How many times I was hired as diversity hire to be the Black girl in the back? Some people don't think Brazil is so white.
Right. It's so weird when I'm watching TV, Josana. Whenever we all, RBN, this is going to happen, where we're all together in person. When I'm watching TV, I point out that stuff. Like, I point out, hey, that Black girl there, she's literally placed there just so they can say they're not racist. Like, why is she strategically placed in the center with no lines? I was like, that's why she's there. So I point this out to my family to their annoyance, I guess. But let's listen to.
And that's the squad, CJ. That's the squad.
That is. Oh, I wanted to read you this comment here. See what you think. I can answer that, CJ. When I was saying, it was a question I had posed to everybody. I can answer that, CJ. People who believe in Nina believe that she would be such a fighter that she would cause the squad to join her, thus start to use their leverage. That's literally so he's saying this person, I shouldn't say he, Captain Obvious is saying that they can answer the question on why did people believe that one person, and in this case Nina Turner, was going to be this sort of savior. And he said it would kind of be like a domino effect. I guess that's what Captain Obvious is saying would happen, that her Nina-ism would rub off on to the squad, and then they would all become these certain fighters. I don't get that. But hey, what do you think of that before I resume the video?
Well, that we should screenshot that comment and save it, because that is the translation of the propagandized American mind. That's the translation of it. They believe so much in the figure of the leader, the hero, because the way they see history, they're like, oh, MLK was a hero. Somebody's going to come and do the same. No, MLK got his ass up out of the bed and was like, well, I kind of don't like people beating me up and not being able to take a freaking bus without, like, you know, some violence happening to me. So let me scream out of my lungs. How do I feel? To power. Hi, John, to Emily. Like, how? Let me do this. Because, like, the idea that we will be saved, I have been, like, observing a lot lately. I'm really happy to be here with you because, like, you always go in my conversations, you always analyze me. And I'm like, because I've been thinking lately, CJ, like, the idea of the savior is coming from the Christian mindset. And that's why I made that point about Reverend, get out of there. Because
no, that's
when
a good point. I never connected that.
Yeah, we're waiting for white Jesus. We're waiting for white Jesus to be reborn and save us from the evil, because that's what we're learning, and not to play with people's faith. I was raised Christian. I understand that love for the Jesus and stuff. I understand, but we got to analyze, why are you presenting me with a Palestinian man that's white, blue-eyed, that went to Egypt to hide him? Like, like, we have to start asking questions.
It's like, forget this picture that completely is a lie, but believe the stuff I'm telling you. It's like, it's so ridiculous to me. Like, yeah, Jesus, you know, well, whatever, but believe all the other stuff I'm telling you. It's like, come on, bro, come on.
And he died to save you from all his sins, from all your sins, not even his, yours. Like, really? Like,
Could you imagine being called? Can you imagine calling yourself a Christian nation and you believe in Christ and all these things as you're bombing 500,000, 500,000 kids, and what did Madeleine Albright say? It was worth it. But
and that's,
then we're gonna go pray. We're gonna go pray. Like, that's so ridiculous. Go ahead, Joseph.
You got to the point I wanted, because, like, when I make the point about the church and the state having to be two separate entities, and they have to, when we make the new constitution, we will make sure this is written there. Because of the evangelical churches, there is the name is Pentecostal, Neo-Pentecostal in Portuguese. It's Neo-Pentecostal, I don't know, maybe in English. Is the evangelical churches that are taking over Brazilian government, elected Bolsonaro after he was baptized in Israel, Jordan River. He was baptized in isn't real territory, and then he becomes the tyrant that he is with all the power he has. These evangelical churches, they are not just supporting the act of war of the government, but they are also financing the state of Israel. So why Jesus is bombing his own Palestinian children? With
literally
our money. Again, follow the money. Who is paying the money in the church on Sundays? And who is not paying taxes? The church.
It's all types of corruption. I mean, yeah, you and I really need to have more of these because there's all types of stuff that we need to discuss wrapped up in what you just said. But shout out to Nick. Yes, we're at about 700. Oh, we dropped 25 now, but 700. It's fluctuating. It'll get back up there. But thank you for everybody. So if you're watching, let's do this quick. I usually do these 3 times in the stream. So let's like this video. Let's pause the conversation. Like this video. Let's get more people here. Subscribe to this channel. We just hit 17,500 or so, or maybe 17,600. The more people know about us, I think the more people will subscribe. So if you're here just as a looky-loo and you're just watching and you're not subscribed yet, I did open it up to non-subscribers to be able to comment today. So we got about 700 people watching. Let's see if we can get another 200 likes. Yes. We can get another 200 likes. with this amount of people watching. And if you haven't decided you like RBN yet or the Revolutionary Blackout Network, listen to Josana and I a little longer. I think we can convince you to join. But let's get back into the conversation so we can get to what some of these two progressives actually say, because that's some of the critique I actually have, is what their perspectives. So let's listen.
And pushing forward toward continuing to challenge the system, because I'd like to think that even though we haven't necessarily gotten the folks in there that we wanted and gotten away, we've chipped away, little by little, race by race, election by election. And I just have to hope that continuing to do that, continuing to press our way, there will be a breakthrough.
I'd like to answer that too as well, because I've definitely experienced a great number of people who have that frustration. Mm-hmm. They're feeling disappointed about what's happening. I actually spoke with one woman on the phone. I was during call time, and she's, a big supporter of the squad of progressive candidates. And she was like, I'm done. I'm moving to the south of France. We're done. And I was like, well, that's great. So glad you can do that. Yeah. The rest of us maybe can't afford to do that. So we're stuck here in this system. And, the thing that I like to point out, as you know, and maybe your listeners do or don't know about me, but I spent 30 years working in the natural resources field. And one of the big issues that we deal with there is endangered species. And for those who don't know, an endangered species is a plant or animal that is in such dire straits that it's at risk of going extinct and not being here anymore. And that's important for a number of reasons. The timeline, the time horizon to recover a species is anywhere from 30 to 70 years. It took a long time.
I'm gonna fast forward to the question.
Because I must smack her typical white lady speech. I mean, co-opting climate change speech to make it about myself planting my flowers in my garden.
You change your voice like that. All right, so I fast forwarded to Briahna's actual question here. So let's get to that.
Success is by getting people who are not taking corporate PAC or dark monies.
Actually, let's let her make this point here. Let's let her make this point, because right before she asked the question is the reason why Briahna asked the question. Is this a commercial? Okay, let me make sure the commercial goes. All right, so let me just fast forward or rewind just a little bit so you can hear the last part of what she's saying there.
Corporations taking over and resulting in Citizens United and this big push to we all know what's going on. You can't turn it around since 2018. It's going to take a while. And I would argue that we've already made some progress. There has been progress. We are now talking about getting rid and abolishing the death penalty. We're talking about legalizing marijuana. We are talking about universal health care. That was not anything anyone was even talking about 10 years ago. So change is hard.
But that talking about topics is not electoral progress. So she's saying we haven't made electoral progress. We've made progress in just the national discussion, but that is not the purpose, to me, in my opinion, of politics. We're looking for legislative accomplishments. So I think that is what spawned Briahna's question here, is that comment.
Progress is legislation codified into law. Exactly. Let's learn from Roe versus Wade. Let's learn from the present moment. Everything we need, there's white people that says think too hard so you can get everything from the universe. Say everything we need is in the present moment, and it is. In the present moment right now, we are seeing how the Democrats are playing us by not codifying Roe into law. And in a third world country, which is mine, CJ, do you know that we codified racism as a crime in law, as in the books? You can call the cops on the spot. People they are arrested. And also homophobia. But then that took a lot of gas, huh? That took a lot of police beating. That took a lot of crying for 3 days because of all the gas. That took a lot. That took a lot of work. There's no result without the work. And she's damn right they talking about that. They work for us. They have to talk about the things we want changed. That's the bare minimum. But
talking.
People are by nature resistant to change, but we have to keep pushing and we have to keep going. And the way we're going to achieve success is by getting people who are not taking corporate PAC or dark monies, like the grassroots candidates that are running now, and getting more of those folks in Congress. Because if we can get a preponderance in, we'll start to see an acceleration of
how. Now, I do want to talk about this point, because what she's saying is if we get enough non-corporate candidates in, or non-corporate elected leaders in, everything will be great. And let me explain how that is not true. Nancy Pelosi takes money, right? Chuck Schumer, all of the leadership. Let's say everybody under them doesn't take money. Doesn't Nancy Pelosi take money? Doesn't the donors that give her the money, doesn't she set the guidelines of what's talked about? So how does you not taking money affect the corporate point of view of the Democratic Party? It simply does not. It simply does not affect it. So to me, it's being less and less of a factor that you don't take corporate money when you're saying you're going to go run with the Democrats. Because my response to you, if you say, oh, I don't take corporate money and I'm running as a Democrat, then I'm going to ask you, does your party leader take corporate money? You're going to say yes. I'm going to say, does the DNC chair take corporate money? You're going to say yes. I'm going to say, does 95% of all Democrats take money? You're going to say yes. Then I'm going to say, what's the point in you not taking money? Like, how does that affect the outcome? You get what I'm saying? So that's my point. But let's get back in the video to get more. And if you anywhere you want me to stop it, just let me know.
Of that change and pushing forward. Because, people, and I don't mean to call anybody out, but people like Dianne Feinstein, she's like almost 90. Maybe she was progressive in the 70s or 80s.
So I'm going to make this overlapping point. Notice the people who she's willing to call out and name their name, and notice the people when she doesn't want to use their name. So just notice that. So she said Dianne Feinstein. That's easy. Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi are easy to use.
Or 80s. That could have been. But, progress is a continual change. So we need to change the makeup. And I think people don't need always darkest right before the light, right? We've got to push through.
So here's the concern. Here's the pushback. The pushback is, you mentioned someone like Dianne Feinstein, someone else might say Nancy Pelosi. And some folks are old enough to remember and have the kind of historical context to remember that Nancy Pelosi herself was heralded as this record-setting young woman in Congress who thought it was heralding a Medicare for all and talking about a lot of the issues that you enumerated 30 years ago. But because of the corrupting influence of Congress, because of maybe her own just sheer personality and interests and conservative nature, has shifted very far from whatever progressive roots might once have existed, and is now perceived by many on the left to be a primary obstacle to change. And so when people have worked very hard to get progressives like the squad members in office, and there were opportunities to, even with their small number, because of the narrow margins in the House, exert a great deal of control with the power that they did have, right? Not looking to 20, 30 years from now when we have even more progressives in Congress, but just in the context of last year's congressional cycle, had the power to say, prevent Nancy Pelosi from being Speaker of the House or hold her over the barrel in exchange for any number of concessions. And they chose not to do that when there have been so many votes that have been so narrow that but for progressives, they couldn't have increased Capitol Police funding. But for progressives, they couldn't have voted to increase funding to the Iron Dome. But for progressives, that's what causes people to believe that electing more progressives won't do anything because the system changes progressives. The progressives don't change the system. What do you say to that?
I think that's a really valid point and a really fair point, and I think
I want to make
that
a
as
point
well.
To that.
Go ahead.
No, Bree could just drop the mic right after there. She could just drop the mic, of course. But I remember a comrade, it's just a commentary, a comrade posted, what did the squad accomplish? And I commented, the Iron Dome. These people were elected in a non-corporate. I don't take money for corporations. Let's all shipping together. Bernie took working class money to be voting. His ass in the list because I have the photo. Right. Voting for the 40 billion to the Nazi war.
Right. It's terrible.
These
terrible.
Are
these are the left. These are the left. This yes. And notice when you got here, did you notice or did it ever occur to you like, wow, all the voices of the left, like the main voices that you hear on TV, they're mostly white and they happen to all mostly be rich. Now, how can that go wrong? That the left, who is working class and part of the proletariat, what would go wrong with them being led by rich white voices? This is the reason why the left is this weak. Of course, it's propaganda. But when your main voices are selling you out because they don't have to deal with the same issues that you have to deal with, so it's not important to them, like police brutality, like imperialism. You know how many people in the Democratic Party or even on the left, their leftism, their democratic, their freedom thinking ends at the border. That's where it ends. They don't care about people being paid a living wage in other countries. They don't care about the conditions. They don't care about water, freedom, none of that. As long as we get it, that individualistic sort of mindset. I know I'm going off on a tangent. Let's see if
okay,
the video
because little they know that the corporations there are taking away land in Central and South America to plant massive agriculture for massive production. So you're going to plant only soy in that land and the other land only corn. And it's known in science that kills the soil. The soil is made to be diverse. If you make it one thing, it's going to die. The nutrients won't be there. The ecosystem, we're talking about lives. If she wants to stretch, I will stretch too. If we're talking about lives under the soil that we will die, and that soil is dead. So you have to move to another land to plant only soy there. It has like a time. That's why the corporations go buying the lands, the corrupted lands from Amazon rainforest in Central America. And that's provoking immigration. If y'all don't like us, you better learn about imperialism, because the consequences of your country sucking my dry, it's me here talking to you the way that you don't like.
And I think this, to me, to Tucker, in particular to like Tucker Carlson's audience, to like Fox News audience, the audience that always talking about, there's a crisis at the border, not the crisis you and I know about. It's a different crisis to them. The crisis to them is brown people is trying to get in. It's all about the replacement theory, right? So to that point, it's like they don't know that, hey, if you don't want us to come, why don't you tell your government to stop bombing us? Why don't you tell your government to stop doing all of these things? Like, there's no connection. They don't make that connection there. And then we got Rome in the house. Let me take the video off just for a second so we
just
can
so people that know better
Rome.
What they are saying. There is life in the soil. Hi, Rome. Hi, cousin.
What's going on?
What's up,
damn,
man?
that's $100 super chat. Who the fuck balling like that? Shit.
You came in.
Oh, I didn't even see it until she put it up. Well, it just came back. We just got our monetization back literally yesterday. It literally just happened yesterday. So let me read it. So my last
with this stream, we're about to lose soon. I'm joking.
I think this is our okay, let me read it then I'll give my comments. So my last hope for electoral politics would be a third party that exists strictly to fight Dems, GOP, a party with no platform where every candidate runs as an independent, so the party functions as a debate medium network for candidates, not the forward party. Actually, let me read that again. That actually sounds like a good idea. A party where there is no platform, where every candidate runs as an independent, so that the party functions as a debate media network for candidates. That's actually not a bad idea. The genesis of it is not a bad idea. Like having a party where there's not defined terms, you're just independent, meaning outside of the red and blue, and you define who you are yourself. I guess that's a pretty good idea. What are your thoughts?
I am a bit of a Debbie Downer on that because I believe I'm Madam Chaos of the squad of the RBN. Like, if my superhero would be Chaos. We need to throw, so I'm going to go with this super chat here for my point. Thank you, Anthony. We need to throw that thing on the ground and build back up. I admire the work of people that are not giving up in electoral politics and trying to build the third world force, but the system, the system of control in America is controlled by corporations. So you take the money from the people, take the money from the working class. When you go inside, you gotta kiss Jeff Bezos' ass, and he will be there laughing at your face while you do that, Bernie.
I feel like, we can get there, and we have no choice but to get there. But once we have a real stronghold on these neighborhoods and our people and whatnot, and their minds and their bodies, making sure they hit the ground and teach the people, then yes, we can dabble back into electoral politics because we will have enough people to actually get to what we need and get the things that we need or promises or whatnot that we are putting
You're
out
talking
there.
about the dictatorship of the proletariat.
Of the
You're talking about the
proletariat.
dictatorship of the
Yes.
proletariat is what you're describing.
We're gonna have to get there. It's gonna get there. But see, the thing is, the people with the electoral mindset, they want to win right now. They want to feel their wins right now, even if it is, saying somebody in office, somebody black in office. Okay, well, that's a step forward. Like, no, it's not. You actually just pushed us back a couple of steps, And until the proletarian has a real voice, a real fight. I mean, a real voice in this fight, I should say. Then us going into electoral politics, living under a corporate fascism, living under corporate fascism is just you're just gonna go on that infinity loop of electoral politics. You're just gonna be stuck voting for Bernie Sanders, AOC, Ilhan Omar, and whoever else come next up to them.
You know what me and my wife say all the time? We say this is literally like the Hunger Games. If you watch the movie The Hunger Games, you got these rich celebrities doing these hosting, right? And it's so fake. Like you can see it's so fake. And it's only the rich upper class in the audience. And then all of us fighting to live. Like it's literally like the Hunger Games, what's happening. Go ahead, Josanna. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'm looking here. Go ahead, because I'm looking for. Look, I'm gonna send you the link. I'm gonna send you the link. It's you. It's BBC News.
Somebody said we need a militant working class. We need militant working class parties. Yes, we do. We do have militant working class parties. But see, the thing is, just like every other American, these organizations can be kind of individualist, I should say, because we are reaching for the same goals, but we aren't coming together to complete these things.
Right,
So we have Black Panthers out there. We have black militias out here who openly carry guns in their neighborhood, who teach people and whatnot. But we're gonna have to jump over those state lines. We're gonna have to jump over these borders that we put up amongst ourselves and each other, and really operate and organize with each other and bring together these organizations like the Soviet Union did. So once these militant workers in America actually come together and they know they are the front line and the last line of defense. If they know this, then we can actually get some things going. But as long as we are moving in groups apart from each other, we're not going to get there. But unions, organizations, militant organizations, we're all going to have to come together and form another type of Soviet Union here in America on this soil in order for shit like that to even pop off.
Absolutely. And let me just read this super chat. A couple of actually super chats we got here. Abolish political parties, create People's Council. Political parties are elite, outdated structures. Do you know what a People's Council is, or what he's
Yes.
referring to?
I know.
Absolutely.
So that's why I pulled in the article, because I have been trying to, and sorry, Gary said I had bad choice of words. Yes, English is not my first language, so sometimes I will slip in the worst way possible. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, the reason why I pulled this article is because of the super chat that the person put. Thank you for the super sticker. City council is what's happening in Cheran, because in Spanish it's Cheran. They got fed up. They got fed up. They took power into their hands, okay? And they expelled the politicians. They expelled the gangsters. They took control over the town. So you have no parallel power nor power being the leader. And what they do, they have a city council. They sit once a week or once a month or twice a month. They sit, they talk what they think they need for the city, what they think they can donate, what it was like, right? They discuss together. And in the council, one person is elected to go and talk to the House of Representatives. Yeah. And that person is never the same person, because there's no such a thing as one king, one dictator, one leader. They more like me. They're anarchists. And and they radical as fuck, because they kick out everybody. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's what they have been doing. And that's the city council. Every single person has a voice, because, like, to be quite honest, Bernie, whatever, AOC only has a voice. She's not in my district, though, because I pay taxes in New York. So why does she has more voice than me that didn't approve the Iron Dome? If you go in the ground, Rome is in the ground every day. If you go in the ground and you ask the people if they support the wars, they will say no. The only reason Death to America was not my slogan anymore as a fighter from Brazil, because when I was in Brazil, oh, hell yeah, Death to America, is because I came here and I met the people in the soil. And I saw what you all are going through. Because my vision is the outsider view, right? I'm seeing it from the outside. They cannot get propaganda because I'm grown.
Let me just read the caption of this, because this is a very Tehran, the town that threw out police, politicians, and gangsters. The subtext, in Mexico, organized crime reaches everywhere, even in the smallest village, except for one small town in the state of Michoacan. I think that's how you say it.
Michoacan.
Led by local women, the people of Tehran, is that how you say it? Tehran, yeah, rose up to defend their forest and armed loggers and kicked out police and politicians at the same time. Check this article out, BBC. It was written in 2016 by Linda Presley. Very, very interesting article. But it proves that, you know, what you say can never happen can happen. It's really about the people who buy in, Josana, in my opinion. It's really about the people who are saying, hey, I'm in for this, I'm down for this, and I'm not down for this. And in the United States, we just don't have people that's down like that. But let me play a little more of this. Go ahead.
Before you go, I would like, sorry, but like, because the question you asked me right when I jumped in Like, what were you thinking when you were out of here? The thing is, like, we were talking, if there is real leftists there, why they have guns. This is a country where you can have a gun. Why are they not like just going and overthrowing the government? That was the first sentence I told you before I was arguing. I was like, I want to overthrow the government. He was like,
Yeah, I
here.
remember.
Because these people think money make the man. They see power. They see quote unquote powerful people in these nice houses, cars, and whatnot, and they think that makes them somewhat untouchable. Or if you were to get rid of them, let's just say get rid of them, that. You know what I'm saying? There will be backlash against you and your family. There will be backlash against you and your family. But what you have done, you know, when we are dealing with these people, when we are dealing with oil tycoons, we are dealing with evil people who lock children up and practice hysterectomies on women. We are saving people's lives. We are saving nations of lives, generations of people. So don't be afraid to take them out, because they are obviously planning on taking you out. Like, there is no rebuttal in that. Your plan for the government is to get wrung out, dry, and die. That's it.
Let's take a moment right here. I do this maybe 3 or 4 times a stream to take a moment to get everybody to go subscribe. We already passed 17,600 people as subscription, and I know if we're up to 500 people watching this stream, I know there's a lot of looky-loos, a lot of new people that may not be subscribed. We're at 344 likes. We can definitely add another 50 to 100 likes. Let's get some more people in the chat. Also, we're going to be launching our Discord. I didn't say this earlier. What's going to be exclusive for our Substack users? Oops, I put up the wrong one. Our Substack users. I'll put that back up in just a second.
No, that's my fault.
So subscribe to our Substack. And once we launch our Discord, our Substack users will have exclusive access to that Discord. So yeah, let me put that comment. I don't know where it went, but let me play a little more of this. I know the stream we were supposed to cover a lot more of this, so let's maybe play a few more minutes of this and then talk about this. But the topic is still electoral politics is dead, and the title of this video, Rome, is The Case for Electoralism. So these two are arguing in favor of it. And let's listen to their answers.
I've seen it more with some people than others. For example, I see, well, I don't want to call out names. There are certain people who have been heralded as leaders of the progressive movement who have, in my opinion as well, not held up those values. But there are others like Cori Bush, who I will call out and say, you know, she's standing up. And the votes when she was first in, those early on, those were a little disappointment. And I have not spoken with her about this. But I would guess that she probably feels a little bit manipulated in how that whole situation happened. And we have seen her stand up, like when she went to the Capitol steps. You know, nobody else was there until she was there. And then they kind of came around for photo ops, but she was there the whole 5 days. So I would say that people have a very valid point. And it is definitely hard, especially when you have these young people going in, they're in their 20s or maybe early 30s, and they're facing people who have been doing this political game for 50 years. I get it. I get it. But what's the alternative?
See,
You're muted, CJ. Please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
I knew to stop it right there because I wasn't even looking at the screen. I was like, when she said, "What's the alternative?" I knew Josana and Rome would have a lot to say. But quickly, let's just say what's up to Kaylani. She wants to say hi. So say hi, Kaylani, real quick.
Hey, I missed you.
Oh my God, you were so beautiful, Kaylani.
Right.
You should be here in the stream.
Not
us.
Says you're beautiful,
she proved our point. I just want to say she proved our point when she said that, you know, basically we are young. We are the young faces here. And we have seen people in politics 50-something years and have gotten nothing done. What is the alternative? Actual work. not giving up your power. You know what I'm saying? Not going to go canvas for promises that these people cannot keep. You know? And see, this is the thing. Electoral politics is easy to sell in America because it is faith-based. And a lot of you believe in your gods. A lot of you have your religions and whatnot. And all of this goes back to church. All of this goes back to selling you some type of
We
God,
didn't call each other before we jumped in.
that's gonna come around and just save you. Like, who? Name one person who's gonna come around and just undo every evil thing America has done through electoral politics. There is not one person that can stand up to this system. So we have to stand up as a whole, as one, as the proletarian, take back our neighborhoods, make them not hoods, make them strongholds, make sure that our people eat, make sure that we are building unions, tenant unions, to make sure that we are spending money, or somebody getting evicted, we shack up or we save their house, etc., etc. That is the alternative, actual work. Not giving up my power, not giving up my voice, not giving up everything that I have stood up for and fought for, and compromise for somebody who's going to compromise for somebody that I would never compromise on.
Well, see, the problem, Rome, is that we have some people in the United States who believe what makes you a leftist or progressive is simply your thoughts. Like, and that's all you need to have in order to be considered that, right? So when they hear let's get out and work, they're like, work? What?
It's not voting season.
I'm a leftist in here. I'm here with you, okay, Rome? You get what I'm saying? It's like, why my quality of life is going to go down in order to improve somebody else's life? That's how Americans think. It's a very selfish way of thinking. But go ahead, Josana. It looks
But
like
no, I have a point to that too. It's not just that; it's also the gatekeeping. Because like, I am clearly an organizer. I have clearly been in leftist movements in places that are way more radical than the USA, right? I have been organized, but like, I don't want to sit here with you, CJ, and give you my resume, because it shouldn't be a point of vantage. Should be the only thing that should be keeping me to be in the fight or not is my will to fight. Is me being angry and not happy at all with every day having to go to work like my ancestors when they were enslaved worked, and not make enough money to feed my family. That should be enough. But in the US, you go to an action and like, hi, I want to support. Oh, who are you? What's your organization? Your resume. What do you do? And I'm like, dude, I am nobody to start with. But there are some people that are crazy enough to give me platforms. So they're called Revolutionary Blackout. You can talk to them.
I love that, Nick.
Know about me.
Can I just get a shout? I'm gonna give a shout out to Nick on his own fucking show, because this motherfucker just, man, I probably watched that debate like 50 fucking times already. Straight up. I've been watching it all today. But I love that he had brought up that the left was made to liberate us, not gatekeep, not push black people off into these political corners and you know what I'm saying, deplatform and whatever. The left was made from us.
That is where the left roots is from, the liberation, to liberate people. That was how the left, kind of the genesis of it, but it has been taken over by rich people, by rich white people, and it's not what it should be.
Yes.
And this is the reason why we say we need to give the mics back to the most marginalized, to our trans brothers, to our, black and brown indigenous populations, to the poor, to Appalachian whites,
the black women.
Poor whites. Yes, absolutely. So all of this, great conversation. But let's listen more to the people who want to keep this electoralism going, because that is the title of the video. So we want to make sure we cover it extensively. Let's listen.
Give up and let corporations rule the world. I think we need to fight back, and we need an inside-outside approach. We need activists to hold our representatives' feet to the fire and push them in a direction that benefits people.
So you mentioned activist and inside and outside approach, and I think that what people would say when you ask what's the alternative would be to say that they would support the outside approach, at least when it comes to their dollars. I think a lot of folks, of course.
Great.
Oh, it's a match.
Man, you still not logged into my account?
Don't buy that.
I'm gonna see you my password.
Capitalism.
I'm gonna see you my
Capitalism.
password.
It's not gonna make it go. Oh, look,
Yeah, next-
capitalism
yeah, send it to me then
co-opted.
next time.
Read the commercial. Did you see? Did you see
What
the
did it say?
commercial? There was people in a protest.
Yeah. It's being
Mary
co-opted.
KKK. Whoa.
Yeah. They're gonna
It
start
happened in
having
our faces.
a protest sale at Macy's. That's the next one. That's the next thing I'm gonna do. Let's listen.
For the centrist candidate to win in any given race, and if they lived in those districts, they would happily vote for the progressive candidate. But the challenge that I've
Let me
observed,
rewind just to make sure we get that full thought that she was making there.
mention activist and inside and outside approach, and I think that what people would say when you ask what's the alternative would be to say that they would support the outside approach, at least when it comes to their dollars. I think a lot of folks, of course, would prefer the progressive candidate over the centrist candidate to win in any given race, and if they lived in those districts, they would happily vote for the progressive candidate. But the challenge that I've observed, and we were all at a fundraising event for a number of Black women progressive candidates from across the country last night, the challenge that I'm observing is there's a lack of enthusiasm for fundraising support,
Right.
when contrasted with what people were willing to give in the context of a Bernie media cycle and the 2018 midterm cycle where progressives really had their moment. And that seems to me to be directly related to people's frustrations that they were giving their last $7.
Right.
And the people they gave those $7 to have been, to your point, cowed by the system. And I don't think anybody really feels that's like a value judgment. The system is difficult to stand up against, So I guess my question then to you is, how do you see yourself negotiating that process? What do you see as the bulwark that's going to keep you from succumbing in the way that so many very well-meaning and good people like Cori Bush, I believe, have felt forced into taking positions or taking votes or silencing themselves on issues in a way they might not have anticipated before they got into Congress? Let's start with you, Reverend.
So the question she's posing is, how are we to trust that you're not going to fold just like the squad? That's basically the question that she's asking. Would you like to chime in? Would you like to chime in before you listen to them, or you want to listen to their answers first?
Let's listen to them and then we can destroy them.
Okay, let's listen to their answer and see what they say here.
I think it has to do with, first and foremost, discerning people's behavior. Like, human behavior is hard to discern, right? People can tell you what they are going to do and what they're going to stand for. And like you just pointed out, though, finding themselves up against the system, suddenly what they said seems to go away. And that's the nature of human behavior. Unfortunately, it's not good or bad, it just is. So what I suggest is that the persons who are running have to be true to themselves about what they're willing to stand up for and what they're willing to fight for before they put their name into the hat to run. So for me, I can only speak for myself that I don't believe my constitution, my personal constitution, is strong enough to not be compromised. I answer to a higher authority, if you will. And so
she said, don't trust me because I'm getting that dollar. I'm chasing the bag. And the bag is chasing me. Amen. Jesus. Sorry.
Rome. So she said that basically she's almost incorruptible because she's a reverend.
Those are the most corrupt people in Black
in the world.
Like, I don't know about the world. I can't speak for the world, but I know Black communities, and I know that the church have taken and never gave back. And actually, it makes sense for her to fall into, like I said, this is faith-based bullshit. It makes sense for her as a reverend to string you guys along and make you feel good and make you think that somebody's going to come along, or maybe she is some type of savior that's going to help you guys. Like, no, like she just said, she answered to somebody, a higher power. She don't have any power. We know that these people don't have any power. Let's stop playing with our lives, because that's what we are doing. We're not just voting and things aren't happening. No, things are happening. It might not be in a positive way, but things are happening. Like your wages getting stripped away. You know what I'm saying? Like women rights getting stripped away from their body. Right? So things are happening with these votes and these people getting into office, but they're not happening in a good way for us. But don't listen to these people like, holy fuck. And it's so much money in this. Like, it is just it's so much money that you are already corrupted. You know what I'm saying? By the time you even, what you want, nigga?
And that's what I wanted to bring for my point. Sorry, CJ, I'm gonna just go here and higher power. It's called Jesus CO. Right? Because to me, I even want to ask you, because it's like I have an ADHD brain, but like I wanted to see if, because to me, in the end of the sentence, in the end, the little end, she's saying, well, I will definitely not do nothing and take the money. It's like, she's like, don't trust me, because I would just like, you know, I would have to adapt.
Wait till later on in the conversation, she says something to the effect of, I would hope I wouldn't do something like that. As if she's talking about a different person, like she doesn't have control of herself. I will hope, you know.
I'm sorry, the white woman. What's the white woman name? I'm sorry for saying, but
I hate her.
She said,
because she has only like curry bitch.
Alternative? We sit back and let corporations control the world. Corporations control the world right now. Name me one corporation that don't have their hand in politics right now, and I'm gonna show you a motherfucking fool. You know, like, this is, we don't have to go back to slavery. We don't have to go back to cotton. We don't have to go back. We can talk about things that are happening right now. During the pandemic, who rewrote laws during the pandemic? The airlines, the big pharma. All of these people have a hand in this. They shape our laws. They run our laws. They uphold our laws. They run the world. So don't sit here and act like a corporation, like we don't live under corporate fascism as of already, and telling the people, oh, we can fight and vote our way out of this. No, the only way you're going to be able to vote your way out of this is voting who gets the guillotine next.
All right, so okay, I should have said this. I'm so, like, Nick said this in a stream a couple of days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. No, yesterday in the call-in. Like, Rome is to the left of Nick, but I would say Joe Santa and Nick are our most left members. So I'm on the stream with the two most left members of RBN, because the way both you two talk sometimes make me laugh. I just talk. But go ahead, Joe Santa, if you had remarks.
Well, but like, that's why we call each other family, right? That's why we call each other family. Like, from the first time we met each other, it was in a Twitter space, and I was talking to Rome, and then I was like, I cannot come to this thing because I work nights, but I have many things to say. He started making this space at 2 a.m. so I could jump in. Because like, and that's why I encountered y'all through him, because like, oh, this guy's doing something. He's doing something. And then like the speech, and I was like, damn, there is. So like, and that's why we like-minded, because like, we want to just get to the work. We want to get to the work. And I say that, CJ, I think we are too, me and you and Rome, and then me and you and Nick, and then me and you and Sab, and me and you and JB. Like, JB is going through major shit right now. Because of the conditions that, like, I'm gonna say a very capitalist talking point right now. We pay taxes as a service to the territory we explore and calling country, right? So taxes are actually an investment, because we are all part of this collective called country. So when I pay this, the investment that I make in the soil is that I can get back services that will improve my living conditions so I can thrive, motherfucker. What the US does is, sorry, I thought I got better with that, but I haven't. What the US does it massacrates other nations outside of here and its own people. And that's why there will always be money to fund the police. The reason why Uncle Rapist Joe is calling for funding the police is because he's funding the state because he knows we are waking up.
Yes.
That is 1364 people
Preparing.
watching this video, and even if they disagree, they will start asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we start becoming vengers. And the money is going to fund the police state that will kill us. Remember the bulldozer. They don't have that for no reason. The robot dogs. I have a friend. He's an artist. He crosses the for his art. He always crosses the border walking. The robot dogs are there with a gun on it.
So how do
they
we
already
combat
are
that?
sent to
How
Ukraine
do
as
we
well.
combat that, Josana? Do we, you know what I'm saying, just give up our votes every 2 to 4, 6 years and just hope and wait that the police would, their money would just disappear and hope that all this evilness would just stop and these people would just go away and leave the money, leave the lands? Like, come on, man. Let's look at life in real lenses here. We, like I said, we have seen our leaders. Some of us didn't get the privilege to see our leaders, but we know what they wanted, you know. And like Nick said, if you are a Marxist, things make sense, you know what I'm saying, when you are looking at capitalism as they are, you know what I'm saying. You can't just look at it and say, well, okay, Democratic Party is a little evil, but I can fix it from the inside. How where are you going to get? How are you going to get so far up in this corporation and not compromise in certain ways to even get to the position that you are at? You can't fight your party all the way up to the top because they will literally keep you down or kick you out. We've seen it happen before. We've seen them, you know, endorse me to turn in 1 year and kick our ass out the next year. What is you gonna do? Like, I just don't get it. Like, and yes, dying is scary, but living a life where you don't get to live your life is horrifying. Where you don't get to be a human being, where you don't control the goods in your neighborhood. You got food giving you cancer. You can't afford your mental health, care, your mental disabilities, and all that shit, healthcare disabilities. You can't afford it. You can't afford to live. So what is the use of living horribly on a thread if we're gonna just die any fucking way? We might as well take these people out before they take us out. We have people in positions of power that they shouldn't be in, but they believe in depopulation. They believe that, you know what I'm saying, if we neglect people, the CEO of Nestle don't believe humans should have right to water. What are we gonna do? We're gonna sit here and just go protest. We protest.
Right.
And then what? Fuck, man, y'all niggas is y'all lost in
Yeah,
the
it's gonna it's gonna take more, but here is the response to what you would get from a liberal or for those reformist leftists who are still like bought into the system. Maybe even what the two candidates that we're talking about. David here kind of articulates they can still Democrats are this, but it's always a but. Now let's listen to David articulate that but.
Yes, I've had moments where I'm like, you know what, I'm out. Like, I'm done. I hate this. I can't look at it every day. I like it's so nauseating. It's so pointless. And I have those days. And you know, like, and by the way, I don't begrudge people who say, look, I can't focus on this anymore. It's too depressing. I'm not saying like those people are bad. I get that impulse, but I also think like, and by the way, I also think like just saying, oh, you know, they're all corrupt. You know, nothing good can possibly happen. And anybody who's trying to work in that system, you must be corrupt or at least stupid by trying to fix things, because the whole
what,
system,
bitch?
you know, sort of the black pill, you know, there's a blue pill, the red pill, and the black. Like, I reject that too. Like, you're not smarter by just walking.
All right, I'm gonna start it over because Rome said that. What's up, Savvy? Sabs in the building with us. I'm sure JB is with us, or he might be streaming actually. Nick is in the building. That's why I wanted to stop.
What's good, Nick?
Let's give him the proper
what's
introduction.
popping, people? What's
We
popping?
just go. We do like how it's like summit style.
A marathon. Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, CJ.
What I was gonna say is this is the first time I've been on a stream where we reached 1,300 people, and I don't know what happened, why it all of a sudden jumped to that, but we appreciate you being here. If you're new and you've never seen us, give us a chance to convince you to subscribe to us. Like this video at least. We're at this. We can at least get to like 600 likes right now. I think we just hit 400. If we can get another 200 on here, we can get a lot of people in the chat. But this is a great conversation. It looks like more people want to join. But let's now listen to David Sirota. I feel like he's articulating what some reformist leftists have to say when we say electoral politics is dead or done or damn near dead and done. This is the response we hear from them.
Yes, I've had moments where I'm like, you know what, I'm out, like I'm done. I hate this. I can't look at it every day. I like it's so nauseating. It's so pointless. And I have those days. And and by the way, I don't begrudge people who say, look, I can't focus on this anymore. It's too depressing. I'm not saying like those people are bad. I get that impulse, but I also think and by the way, I also think just saying, oh, they're all corrupt. Nothing good can possibly happen. And anybody who's trying to work in that system, you must be corrupt or at least stupid by trying to fix things because the whole system is corrupt. Sort of the black pill idea. There's a blue pill, the red pill, and the black. I reject that too. You're not smarter by just walking away. You're not better than people by walking away. And by the way, you're not better than people by saying, anybody who's ever voted for a Democrat is supporting the duopoly. Here's the thing, the Democratic Party is super corrupt, but in the short term, right, in the context, for instance, of the reconciliation bill, all you have right now is a Democratic Party and a Republican Party in Congress. You've got to try to get, there's a climate crisis happening. It's a ticking time bomb. You have to.
CJ, check your audio.
Is the exact reason why you shouldn't be going through electoral politics, David, is because that is the slowest way to attack the climate crisis is to go through electoral politics. And let's just go through it. Why I say it's the slowest way, because what do? You got to elect some more people. You got to wait another 2 years, elect some more people, and wait another 4 years, elect some more people. Look how much time you're going by to get to the point to where you can affect change, climate change. We can't piecemeal climate change. There's no incrementalism to climate change. It needs to be a fix. How can that occur? It's going to take literally 50, 75 years to go through the electoral system that we can accomplish by using our feet in 3 or 4 years. Literally that.
How do you say nihilista in English?
Nihilist. Either way, it's nihilist or nihilist. Yes.
There is a word in Portuguese that they having the pachorra, which is like the straight face, but we have more. The pachorra to call us nihilist. That's how you say that?
Yes, that was perfect.
Amen.
David.
There is right now making active propaganda to keep us, the zombies we are right now, working, quiet, irritated, but with that inside of us, voting for the Democrats. Because one day, Jesus, the CEO of Jesus & Co., will come and make the Democrats do shit for people. And and you know what's the most beautiful to watch? Yes, rei da coerência, pachorra. It's the most beautiful to watch is the fact that they are struggling really hard to keep the propaganda on. So expect young celebrities supporting voting.
I'm gonna say what I said on Twitter, man.
Go ahead.
David, David is a op. David is an op, and he always remind me how Hollywood got us where we are at today. Oh shit! Let me get the fuck up out of here. Copyright strike. Hold on. He always remind me that Hollywood got us where we are at today with their record, and him being a producer and whatever Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? He's just doing his part. I wouldn't expect for this rich white man about liberation of black people. Like, what the fuck? What? Like I said, some of our lives getting better. That means our lives get better, but that don't make their lives better. With us waking up from electoral politics and all of these people that they are pushing on us and these beliefs that they are pushing on us, their hustle stops, their money stops. The people that supported them disappears. So they need people on that fence. They don't need people fighting. They need people on the fence in order to sell some type of bullshit to them. But yeah, David is just a Hollywood executive motherfucker, and he gonna do his job. Man, he gonna sell you some bullshit and put on the screen, tell you what it is. This is reality, and you're not smarter than anybody. No. Yes, I am smarter than you because I have read history. I have read the history of what Joe Biden have created throughout this world. Yeah. So if I was to sit here and say, hey, this is going to happen, that is going to happen, you shouldn't put your support behind these people, and you do it and it happens, yes, I'm better, I'm smarter, you a dumbass, and you deserve everything that's going to happen to you. And now sometimes our votes don't come back to kick us in our ass till 5-10 years later, but whenever that be, you are going to get what you deserve. You voted for Joe Biden, you live in a black community, say hello to gentrification, bitch. So,
that is a great point, but let's unless you want to make your point, let's finish the video. Go ahead.
Oh, actually,
go ahead.
Absolutely, video because it's almost done.
It's like a minute. It's like a minute long.
We can finish the video and now chime in.
Okay. Let's finish the video because he's gonna say a bunch of stuff that we're not gonna like in this minute. Just warning you right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna wait.
To try to get this horrible, corrupt system to try to do the right thing, stipulating that it is horrible, it's corrupt, the game is rigged. All of that stuff is stipulated, but like walking away from it or just sort of rolling your eyes and saying anybody who's even trying to participate in it is stupid, dumb, and or complicit. Like, I just reject that. Like, there's too much at stake. It doesn't mean don't hold progressives accountable, right? Like the squad, the progressive members of Congress, like they need to be held accountable to their.
No, keep going. My bad.
Their promises to hold out. The corporate Democrats need to be held accountable. But the idea of just rolling your eyes and being like, they're all corrupt. Anybody trying to do any of that is fortifying the evil duopoly. Like, no, the other way to look at it is like, yes, the duopoly is pathetic and terrible and corrupt, but it's like what we have in the short term, right in the here and now. We're on a scientific time bomb time scale here, and like we've got to do anything that we can to make the system respond.
Anything except hit the streets. Anything.
CJ, can you please just can you please go back just a few minutes in the video before this last when he says yes, the duopoly. It starts with him saying yes, the duopoly.
Absolutely. Let me go back.
That's MTV in the 90s. Stop that!
Yes,
and you see this.
Yes, I'm going to try to get like there's a.
I think it was right here. I think it was right
Republican Party in Congress. Like you've got to try to get like there's a climate crisis happening. It's a ticking time bomb. Like you have to try to get this horrible, corrupt system to try to do the right thing, stipulating that it is horrible. It's corrupt. The game is rigged. All of that stuff is stipulated, but like walking away from it or just sort of rolling your eyes and saying anybody who's even trying to participate in it is stupid, dumb, and or complicit. Like, I just reject that. Like, there's too much at stake. It doesn't mean don't hold, progressives accountable, right? Like the squad.
I have to stop it here because I have to make this point, then I'll play it. Holding them accountable. How, David? Because when we criticize them, we get talked about. When we criticize them, when we say, let's vote them out. If you don't vote them out and you don't criticize them, how else do you hold them accountable? That's just my question. Let me let him finish.
Progressive members of Congress, like they need to be held accountable to their promises to hold out. the corporate Democrats need to be held accountable. But the idea of just rolling your eyes and being like, they're all corrupt. Anybody trying to do any of that is fortifying the evil duopoly. Like, no.
That's what the part you wanted to hear, right?
But yeah, I wanna hear the rest that he says about the evil duopoly.
Absolutely. Let me finish playing that then.
Oh, the other way to look at it is like, yes, the duopoly is pathetic and terrible and corrupt, but it's like what we have in the short term, right?
You can stop now.
We're on a.
So
Oh Lord.
when he says, when you have this white man, homeboy, white man, talking to the camera and saying, so what we have here now, the too much at stake, what we feel right now, he's talking to his own rich white people. There's no space for us. He's not talking to us. He's not talking our language. And he says, all this stuff is stipulated when he talks about the corruption. And he says, yes, the duopoly is terrible, is evil, is corrupted. So they know we know. They know we opt to something, and they are afraid. And that's what I'm going to do. The promise I make here, I am anti-electoral politics, and I will be in this campaign until the end of my days.
And I actually had a stream where I roasted David Schroeder. And the funny thing is, I told you guys, there's actually a few articles I read from David Schroeder that was good. That was good at calling out Democratic Party corruption. But this is the problem. This is the problem. Do you guys think you become an Oscar winner? You even get nominated? You even get that position if you're not a good boy for the liberal corrupt establishment? So despite all of David Schroeder's objections to the party, he does a good job exposing Democratic corruption. He still tells you to vote for them. What does that tell you? They don't care if you hate them. Do you really think these rich people that work in Washington D.C. actually care that you got a negative opinion about them? The only thing they care about is you voting for them. If you do that, they don't care if you make mean social media tweets about them. They don't care if you write a mean article about them. As long as you vote and continue to establish their power, you're a good boy. And this is what pisses me off the most. Because despite the fact that I have harsh rhetoric towards Biden voters, because I do feel like they've been complicit with white supremacy, the caveat always exists. The caveat is I actually don't blame a lot of the Biden voters who have Trump derangement syndrome and who were tricked by people like David Schroeder, right? Because they wanted to get rid of the kids in cages, right? They really wanted to do the right thing. And they were tricked because they were afraid of Trump. But we all knew because Joe Biden was pledging to fund the police more and he built this system that nothing was going to change. But people like David Schroeder, he knows the corruption of the Democratic Party. So it's worse that despite knowing the crimes of these people, he sheepdogs and misleads people to voting for his party. Now, have things changed? In fact, Joe Biden has doubled down on every single horrific Trump policy. He expanded the border industrial complex. That is what they called him that's what they called Trump a fascist for. His immigration. They called Tucker Carlson a fascist because his immigration beliefs, even though Joe Biden is legislating Tucker Carlson's ideology. But David Schroeder says we have to vote for them because we run out of time. We need to do something right now. Like, you people with the bourgeoisie, they don't understand. It's not my criticism of the Democratic Party is not what they're not doing for us. Like, that's just an addition. My biggest criticism is the crimes they commit against the proletariat. They're funding multiple genocides. They're funding the police more. Did David Schroeder really think my issue with the Democratic Party is not getting us Medicare for all? That sucks. But the kids in cages make me more upset, believe it or not. The genocide that our state is funding, that Democrats support. My last thing, and I'll wrap it up. I'll pass it back to you guys. But the squad, Bernie Sanders, and the people that he support, they just unanimously voted for the U.S. Domestic Terrorism Act, which is an expansion of the police state. So Bernie Sanders and the squad joined hands with the Democratic Party. Only one Republican voted against it. So this was the entire establishment joining hands and expanding our national security state. But is that anywhere in the analysis of David Schroeder? So if you're a victim of this national security state, why would you listen to this guy who say, "Oh, we must vote for these people," who is funding your oppressors even more? Doesn't make sense, right? But I'll pass it to you guys.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Because what I want to bring up, sorry, I got something else playing in my ear, is actually Nick, you went on a debate, and some of the discussion I feel like is part of this debate or part of this discussion. Hold on a second here. Let me find the screen. I can't find it. What am I looking for? Now I fix it. Sorry. I'm looking for I had to refresh my screen on your page for it to come up. All right, so I have it now. So let me share it. My bad, everybody. It's the long one, the one that Rome shared. Pretty much everybody shared it.
Yeah,
so that's the one I'm talking about.
So support the idea. Now I can really get into
this one here. So let's rewind, because this is what I want to hear about.
And its heyday was not popular. Like the bus.
Hey Nick, can you? I know most of our audience, have seen this, but can you just kind of set up what your debate was about before I play this clip?
Yeah.
Who did you debate, so we could just get that.
Yeah. First off, I do give props for Destiny. Obviously, we don't agree with this guy almost at all, but you see, a lot of members of the boutique left. Why they don't want this funk? They don't want this conversation with RBN. But so I do give him props for not only having me on. He did have a pretty civil conversation, and I feel like there was no bad faith tactics that he was engaging in. So first off, I do give him props for that, because I think it was a productive conversation where we educated a lot of people. And I seen this. I remember I seen him debate Richard Wolff, right? And I remember during that debate, he would. There was a lot of semantic playing, a lot of obfuscation, right? And he was doing that to try and throw Dr. Wolff off. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna allow none of that. I'm gonna be 100% clear. We're not gonna focus on labels. I'm gonna just speak facts, and I'm gonna be calm and cool. I'm not gonna let them use any angry black man trope against us. I'm gonna just come up here and I'm gonna teach these people how you actually gotta be serious, because a lot of people who are deeply unserious, they don't actually follow none of these stories when they develop their politics. So I'm not going to talk too much more about it, but because I think the video will say a lot. But I do want to say props to Destiny, because not only am I impressed that he took the debate, but he did handle it in a civil manner, and it was a conversation, and it seemed like he was legitimately curious near the end. And if you want to say he's known for shady debate tactics, I don't know his history like that, but at least he didn't do that to me. So I do give him props for that. But you can go to the video.
Actually, I'm gonna be taking off, but this stream is too good to end. So if you're able to stay on a little bit, Nick, Rome, and Josana together, what we were talking about is electoral politics is dead. That's kind of like what our whole channel is about. Like if you gave a title to the whole channel,
I have a story too, because I had a story. There was a story I was gonna get to.
And we do the early shift, Nick, and you get free.
Exactly,
early.
You guys. I had the early shift in it. I'll be taking off in a minute. But so
CJ, I had a blast.
I'm saying that to say, Nick, if you could share that same click or whatever, so that I don't have, because once I leave,
I see the one that I see the one that Rome pulled up.
Yeah, but before, these are my parting words with everybody. Like the stream. Great conversation. Thanks for hopping on, everybody. Josana, your contribution to this particular topic is very, very needed, and you, Rome, because like Nick says, you two are the furthest left of all the members, are probably you two. So we need that yin and yang. But for our audience that's watching, electoral politics is dead, and we have many examples to give you. That's my parting words. Have a great rest of the stream. However long it lasts, if it's 10 minutes or another 30 more minutes.
I'll jump on. Let's cover this.
We got too many people watching to just let this stream go. We got
we're a network, so we're going to pass the baton.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Check it out here.
Thank you so much, CJ.
CT is actually here, and we got Tommy's Cuts. I know I haven't been updating you guys, but we're trying to get a good portfolio of things, and you know what I'm saying, a good group of people. But we're trying to bring the community together. Basically cut everybody's shit that need cutting, help people out, poor people, disabled, elderly, and whatnot. And this is a way that we can bring the community together as a whole. So, like, it's a couple of people that don't like us cutting for free. So we're trying to bring the block together to say, all right, if everybody give us $5, then, what I'm saying, we'll cut the whole block. But this is what's going to start conversations amongst each other in these neighborhoods and whatnot. And then we're going to go from there, and hopefully they start a community watch, and, we keep our cities beautiful and don't have to wait for gentrification to get that. But I got to go.
Yeah, always good to have you on, Rome.
All right, yeah.
And fighting a good fight. We having our barbecue event July 10th.
I want to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I want all you guys to come. But I know you guys might not be able to come, but I want all you guys to come. So that's coming up.
I'm gonna send you some more money later on that. If y'all can donate the tour for the poor. Me and Nick is trying to ending up on diapers right now. I won't just about as much as I did in Detroit. So I'm kind of thinking that I'm gonna go for the 10,000 again. So if we can get 10,000 diapers and give it out to the people of Kansas City, that would be fucking dope. We have a barbecue, got music and just love in the air, communism everywhere. We can do the damn thing, y'all. But donate to RBN, donate to Tour for the Poor, subscribe to our Patreon and our Substack so we can actually get paid for the shit that we do, because this shit really don't pay. Like, after, it really don't.
So, man, Kansas City Mutual Aid event, and I'm excited for that. So have a good one, Rome. And if you're in the neighborhood,
It's great to be family.
Yeah, if you're in the neighborhood, you should drop by. We're building community, and if Josana was there, wink, wink, nod, that would be pretty. That would be pretty lit too. So,
Yo, late is us doing this early spontaneous shift from our show, because, like, yes, damn right, we have to do that. This is a critical moment. Nick, you are doing God's work. This is Jesus coming right here. Like, you go into debate these people. You are doing the same work you used to do. You are actually undoing the work you used to do. And that's amazing, because that's revolutionary responsibility, right?
Yeah, we I know RBN can be a bit of an echo chamber. So I wanted to have the debate with Destiny, because I want to show you guys how you handle those liberal centrist talking points. Because it's hard to, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, our community is generally Marxist, leftist, anti-establishment, so it can become a bit of an echo chamber. So it's good that I have this debate, because I've been wanting this debate. I've been waiting for this fight for a while. And once again, big props to Destiny, because he must be confident. He saw my follower count, and that's what made him decide to debate me, because he saw, I guess, it was worth his time. And I think it went well. You know what I mean? So here's a clip, because there have been a lot of clips that have been spread around on Twitter. I decided to pull this one up because this one is sped up a little bit, so it won't take too long to watch. But also, probably my favorite part of the debate. And my plan was just to give him the rope to hang himself. And a lot of them didn't even notice that. There was one point where I was playing like, yo, if there's any country that's a fascist country, because the topic of the debate was, is the United States a fascist country? And he was a liberal that believed in American exceptionalism. So I'm like, I don't care how you define fascism. You go by the 14 steps of fascism, whether you want to go by dictatorial power and authoritarianism, and going after opposition. Like that, by all the definitions, the United States is a fascist empire. But let's not even waste time on semantics. If there's any country, I asked them, if there's any country that's fascist, that's more fascist than the United States, what is it? And then he took the bait. He said, Russia is definitely more fascist than the United States. I was like, there it is.
Thing.
There it is. And then I was like, explain yourself. Just explain that. So then he was like, well, look at what Russia is doing in Ukraine. And Russia has this strong nationalistic tendency to expand empire. I'm like, sir, have you heard of the Monroe Doctrine? You know the Monroe Doctrine, that literally our ideology that anything in the Western Hemisphere, the United States should have influence over, and it's our territory. That's literally what justified Operation Condor and the CIA torturing socialists in the global South in South America, and what they called the Cold War. But the Cold War is really the global class war that was waged by the United States. But you want to say, so I'm like, I'm not even here to defend Russia. But if you think Russia's fascist because of that, explain the Monroe Doctrine. And then boom, he's like, change subject. But anyway, that's not the point. Josan, you want to say anything before I go to the clip?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, you should have told him about America inviting. I'm gonna find the link and I'm gonna bring that subject on. But we need to tell him about American having the summit of the Americans and of the Americas as a whole, and inviting Spain, the biggest colonizer killer of Central and South America, but not inviting Cuba, not inviting Nicaragua, not inviting Venezuela. But yeah, let's go ahead and see the clip of your debate.
Look at the comment about Bryce, because the funny thing is at that point, he was like, also, I don't know that much about history, but that was my dunk on Twitter. Like, I wasn't trying to be mean. Like, literally, he admitted what I said. That was the funniest part. What I said in his response in Twitter. Look, this is what he said. This is what started the entire beef. He went after my mutual. We're mutuals on Twitter. And if you're mutual with our being on Twitter, there's a level of protection that comes with that. So I usually ignore a lot of the Twitter fights, but if you guys are my mutual, and she was getting ratioed because Destiny obviously have a large support base, and I think that's kind of fucked up because I got like 70,000 followers, but I don't go after smaller accounts. I only try and go. I aim at accounts around my same level because I feel like it's kind of fucked up to like ruin someone's whole day because you send your army of followers after. If I send my army of followers, I'm sending after him because he got followers. We fight, and there's like a big war on the timeline. But anyway, I literally just said. Because in his response, he's like, what is the history of fascism in the UK and USA? Because that was our debate was about is the United States a fascist country? This started it all. And he said, I said, imagine announcing to the world that he had zero knowledge of history. And these are the 14 steps of fascism. It gets cut off. I'm going to save time. I'm not going to read all of these. But literally every single one of these lists, actually, I might as well. Let's do a good job doing. I'll read it all. No point in rushing the segment, right? Here, let me zoom it in a little bit. It's gonna be actually, fuck. It's hard to read, but I can read it. So number one is powerful and continuing nationalism. Yeah, in our country, they force kids to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you guys know how
when
crazy?
I learned, Nick, you have to get like my reaction on that, because like when I learned that the children go to school and they have to say the Pledge of Allegiance, do you know like the science of, I know I should not say that, but like the science of mantra, the science of the neuroscientists in America discovered this, that you can change the synapses in your brain by doing repetition. The children are there, I am going to serve this country and give everything and kill and die for it since day one.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna play this clip, and then cause we got some breaking news. I want to play this clip so you guys can see what we're talking about. I pre-faked the video enough, but I want you guys to see
him
like
saying
the clips that going viral. So shit, let me fix the audio. My bad, guys. 1 second. And then we're gonna get into the breaking news. I just
But like the reason why they have to oppose the bill is because their constituents don't want it. Right? Like at the end of the day, like these senators.
That's something we had to disagree with because I don't think it works that way. Obviously, they get money from donors, and they are class loyal.
Yeah, but who are the donors, right? Trump and Bernie Sanders raised the majority of their money off of small donors, right? Both of these guys could.
If you look at Manchin, a lot of his friends, a lot of his connections work in the coal industry. Y'all know his whole biography. His daughter invested in coal mines. Like, there's a class interest, and it's something that Marxism teaches you. Like, if you're a capitalist, you have no idea what's going on. But when you're Marxist, everything makes sense. Bill Manchin is class loyal. He's here to halt all progress by the workers, and he has a media arm that will help sell that message to him to keep him elected. And if Bill Manchin loses, they'll find another person who is class loyal, because in order to be a senator, for the very most part, you have to be rich in order to run a statewide campaign. So then, society, we don't live in a functioning society unless you in like top 5%, right? So
I think that most people in America are living in a pretty functioning society. No?
Well, if you like the 60% workers that live in paycheck to paycheck, I don't know when last time you had to. That's not easy. I'm speaking as someone who's a member of the military, someone who grew up broke, who I literally housed 3 people in the last 2 years who otherwise would have been homeless.
Sure, and I mean like there are
70 hours a week but he was literally on the verge of being homeless, can't afford a car. What kind of existence is this? We live pathetic lives. People literally work 60 hours a week. They come home, they watch Netflix, they think we live in advanced society. How are we advanced if we don't have healthcare? How are we advanced if people can't travel? How are we advanced if people don't have family paid maternity leave? That's decolonize your mind. You think that you guys think that you're happy? It's not, which is why depression rates through the roof, which is why they subscribe you guys these pills. And you guys take these pills like, oh, everything's going okay. I guess I'm happy now. No, this society is so broken, it broke your brain. Your brain is so broken that everyone taking depression pills now because our society is junk. Like, this is not how we're supposed to live. Now, some people have it lucky. Like, I have it lucky now because as a writer, political writer, political commentator, like, I'm lucky I'm not in that grind, and same as you. But most people can't say that. Most people are drawn factory vibes. Now, I do concede this. If you are part of that upper bourgeoisie, you probably have a great life. You get tons of vacation time. You got great existence. You enjoy all the great technologies and all the benefits America has to offer. But as you see, as time goes on, that number is shrinking. The wealth income disparity between Black and white Americans is worse right now than it was at the height of the civil rights era. We have gone backwards in every sense of the word. But people got these new toys. People got this, and all of a sudden they think, oh, this shit is great. But then they ask them questions: why are you so depressed? They ask them, why are we so depressed? Why people kill themselves? Why there's so many mass shootings? We do not live it. We live in a completely savage and uncivilized society, and that's just shown by the results on the people.
So how does someone who believes in American exceptionalism counter that? We live in a deeply toxic society. And I actually just saw this. Someone left the super chat. So I actually do, like, I can literally wrap that segment out with that, because I do think this. I haven't heard this yet. But I just said, like, we live in a society that there's mass shooters, and I'm sure this is trending everywhere. Everywhere. I haven't been online today that much. I did a 2-hour call-in show, and then I was watching this show all day. But we do have breaking news. 14 children have been shot dead in Texas at an elementary school. But tell me more about how we should fund the police more. Like, we spend all this money on the police, but obviously they can't even stop shit like this, right? That's always my first response. So this is a symptom of a broken, sick society that I don't know how anyone could defend this. Like, Destiny put himself in a really hard position. Like, how do you defend this state, right? Developing school district in Texas. I want to say that Uvalde, Texas, said the shooter was located at Robb Elementary School and asked people to stay away from the area after shooting take place. What? All right, let's see if we can get some information. Hey, great job, guys. You see them men in the uniform they showed? Let's see because this is usually probably just a neutral breakdown. Can you rewind this? Can you pause it? The fuck is up with this player?
Guys,
anyway,
they will just want to say that God bless the heart and soul of every single civilian American that died in a terrorist act from one of their own. I just want to say that. And I want to just follow up with, they will push hard for gun control. And it's going to come on us. The punishment's going to be on us.
They're going to push Sorry, Josana, that's my bad.
No, I'm sorry.
They're going to push for more police funding. Oh my God, look at all this mass shooting. Like, look at these fucking goofs. These fucking police officers they were showing. What are they doing to stop this kind of stuff? And that, I'm just asking you guys. Like, this is a society that is inherently insanely broken.
Don't you have police in schools, Nick? In America? Police is in schools.
We got police in schools, and then there was a cop that literally ran during one of the mass shootings. And then they were sued, and then the Supreme Court, a federal court, said that the police have no legal responsibility to protect people, which is another reason why this police state is illegitimate, right? So here's the story. I'm going to just read the dead face story so you guys know what's going on. 14 students and a teacher are dead after a shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. The 18-year-old suspect is also dead. He shot and killed horrifically and incomprehensibly 14 students and killed a teacher. The suspect also allegedly shot his grandmother before entering the school. Wow. Wow. This is another dark soul, man. This is a dark soul. And the fucked up thing is, because we are critiquing the establishment, a lot of these mass shooters, I don't know about with this guy, but the last person, like, these people be getting tips, like the FBI and the police would get tips, Like, yo, they're just crazy, motherfucker. And then they never, like, they don't do anything. So that's always been that's my politics. Since this is a political show, I've been asking these national security state defenders to justify their wages. Like, how, like, they're not even doing anything to stop, like, when the shooting happened, no one's there to stop it. People think the police are here to defend people, to save people. They think rush hour is how police actually operate. Do you guys see how that's not the case? And people who criticize and argue against defund the police thinking that these people will actually save you and protect your kids? Like, this bad ideology is leading us to shift resources that could otherwise either not solve the problem, but at least decrease it. This guy seems so deranged. I don't know how much you can do about this particular situation, if I'm being honest. But when you look at the fact that there are mass shootings every day, I think there's things that if we were a smart society, we can do to prevent it. And I'm not even talking about gun control, right? Like mental health care before it gets this bad, right? Actual community instead of individualism that breeds people like this. Once again, I do not want to put the onus off of this guy because he's insane. But as a Marxist, this is just how I think. Like, how can we run this society in a way that will prevent stuff like this? I don't like this society is a clown show. It's a joke ran by deeply incompetent clowns because they don't know how to stop stuff like this. And that's what they are millionaires. They are granted power, unlimited power, resources, and privilege because they're supposed to be the smart ones who know how to stop this stuff, but they don't. So that's my criticism. I want to get back to Josana, and we can wrap up soon because I don't have much. I don't have much more to add. But Josana, you have anything you want to say?
My heart goes to the families and the parents, the family of the shooter, and because they also lost their grandmother, right? And to the people of the US, like, guys, to be quite honest, like, I'm not used to these being like an everyday news, you know? I'm not used to, like, it's not natural. How many massive shootings will have to happen? How many lives will have to be taken for us to wake up? And that's the message, Nick. I have not much to say because, like, America is a country, as an observer, where big, horrible things happen and people continue to watch. Like, their existence is to watch the facts happening. Like, they need to put their hand in and change. This is their house. I cannot clean your house for you. You have to clean your own mess. The more we sit and watch, the more masses will happen, the more shit will grow, and we'll be living in a pile of shit without knowing how did we get here. That meme with John Travolta, like, lost because we even, and it's not lack of information. I know educational system here sucks, I know for a fact, but it's lack of critical thinking and not information. If we don't take over and if the power is not in the people's hands, massive shootings will keep on happening. Concentration camps for children will keep on existing. We have to stop. And it's only us, and it's not by voting. If I can connect both streams.
Yeah, that's a powerful way. I think we can wrap up. So, do we have a guest tonight, Josana? For Outsiders View, what's the plan?
I was happy with what was happening here right now.
I think this was pretty. It was good extra credit, right?
Yes, I think it's we done our deed for the day.
Yeah, I think so
right?
too. I think so too.
Yeah.
And I did 2 hours on call-in too today too. So
yeah, see,
I had 3 hours with Andre Gray. Then we had the debate with Destiny. So yeah, I think we had a lot of great content. I'll be back. Actually, I think we'll go on the Vanguard tomorrow. I think we can talk about my debate with Destiny. I have something planned coming up. Fuck, forgetting. I'm planning an event with Q, Anthony Omene, and Carl Za. He was on the Anti-Imperialist Summit, really good on war coverage. We're gonna have you guys saw the panels we did on the Anti-Imperialist Summit. We're gonna just have another like anti-imperialist panel. We're gonna talk about a lot of great subjects. So I think that's coming up Saturday. I think my Saturday time slot is my guest time slot. So that's why I'm gonna bring some guests on. So Josana, anything you want to plug? Anything you want to promote?
No, I'm
Make sure you guys
very happy.
Make sure you guys
with
support
this stream.
us on Patreon, like and share the stream, and
Donate for Tour for the Poor.
Donate for Tour for the Poor, your local aid organizations as well. We appreciate you guys and have a good one. Revolutionary Blackout sign out. Bye.